Good morning, Karthik.
Morning. Morning.
Hi, good morning, Karthi.
Hi. All right. So yesterday we just discussed about how to deploy that Windows machine and how can we access. Even we understood how can we, create the VPC as well. So far, do you have any questions? I have seen some couple of questions, even I responded back. So do you have any questions you can? All right. So let us jump. So I will show you how to log into, Linux box as well. Okay, bit later. So let us try to build some real-time stuff. So accordingly, we'll deploy our Linux box and how can we log into that Linux server as well. Let me show you bit later.
Sorry, Karthi.
Yes, Madhusudan.
First of all, I already just now registered that AWS console account, but we don't know how to BOM created billing of the month.
You mean how to track billing dashboard?
Yes.
See, just go to my billing dashboard, right side of your console. You can see my billing dashboard, and here you can track Mathu.
Okay, no need to any credentials
No,
to log in.
No, nothing. See, they're not allowing us to do any
How
changes.
to stop it? This sort of stop something.
You can't. You can't see these are how much if you are using based on that billing dashboard will be there. You cannot able to stop. It's already consumed.
Okay.
You can stop the components. You cannot able to stop the billing dashboard.
Okay.
You can stop your server, you can stop your storage, all the stuffs, but you can based how much did you consume, based on that it's it's gonna be reflecting. Got it, Madhusudan?
Yeah, got it. But I have one question. When the started to billing of the month, how much you have consuming, they measure that INR or some dollars. So going forward, it's not affected, not any debited in our account, right?
No. See, these are a free tier account. They will never debit a single rupee from your account. Don't worry. You will get that email notification. You are consuming this. Your billing dashboard is this, but just ignore those email.
Okay.
Okay. No need to wondering about that.
Okay.
All right. All right. So let's jump into some real-time architecture, and I just prepared some project. I can open those project over here. 1 second, let me close all this terminal. All right, so here I do have the project. So the first project, which are we going to understand in the sense? Oops, what's happened? It's hanged up. Sure. So here, let me open the project. All right. So I can open the project, which it is, which I built. And you can see this project. So usually we can track this project for upcoming session. All right. So here, see, they have decided 2 data center. One data center, it is for production, and other data center it is for DR. So the requirement is 2 data center. Apart from that, let us try to add 2 more data center. I mean, one data center is for security, and one more data center, that is for dev environment. All right. So our requirement, let's try to build our requirement first. I'm just going to write it down here. So the requirements, our organization, let's say Infosys. For Infi organization, the requirement is for VPC. I mean, for VPC. So one VPC, VPC one, let us go and configure for it. And VPC, one more VPC, let's try to configure for security. And one more VPC, let us configure for non-prod. And one more VPC, let's consider for production. So totally we need to create a data center. And all the data center, we need to make the connectivity. I mean, from dev to non-prod, if you want to do the replication, we can do. What is your connectivity? All right. So as per the requirement, we need a 4 data center. I'm just going to spin up 4 data center. It is, so let's consider it is for, I can say, security data center over here. So let's say it is a security. What is the use case of security data center? I hope you might heard about VDA server or Jumpbox or a Bastion server. Whoever want to log in into that respective environment server, first they need to validate with your security data center. Then it's gonna be do the routing into respective data center. Okay, let's discuss now. Let's try to bring up a 4 data center. So one which it is for dev environment, and other data center it is for non-prod, right? And the fourth one, I would say, which it is nothing but production. So 4 data center we require. So all these 3 data center, if any user, I mean, if you go for internal user, I'm talking about only internal user. For external user, they need to access only the production platform. The internal user, okay, so let you consider the development team, if they want to access our infrastructure, first they should log in into our security data center, and from the security data center they could able to jump into respective how. That's question mark, right? So yesterday we have enabled public IP for the server, and using the public IP we could able to access, right? But in real time we should not associate any public IP for respective, the server. We should not. Right. So how can we able to access your data center? I mean, if you're sitting at Bangalore location, you are going to build the data center, the security data center you decided to build at Sydney region, and the rest of Sydney region, and rest of data center you want to build at Singapore region. It's a different, or Ohio region, right? So you decided to build data center in different region as well. So all this environment which it is at Ohio, and only the security data center we are going to build at Sydney, right? How can we make the connectivity between this data center? We are having 5 types of gateways which it is available, right? First one I would say, which it is peering connection, and transistor transistor gateway, VPN gateway, right? Endpoint service, okay, NAT gateway, for VPN, NAT, transistor gateway, and peering connection. One more gateway we are using, endpoint service. So we do have 5 types of gateways which it is available in AWS, right? So when I'm using the peering connection, connection uh, between two data center, connection connection between multiple data center, connection between on-prem to off-prem, connection, once again, connection between two different zone, connection, between two different service. That's quite important. So we are having 5 types of gateways which it is available. These are in-house gateway. Peering connection. It is your data center. I can go back to AWS. So it is your data center, right? So in this data center, let you consider IBM can create a VPC. So they have created one VPC over here. Fine. So Infosys, they have created one VPC. Cap Germany, they have created some VPC. So the different organization, they have created multiple VPC. For IBM, they're having 2 VPC. For Infosys, they're having 3 VPC. Let you consider if they want to jump from this zone, one VPC to other VPC within the organization. Already we have discussed, we are having the words, which it is nothing but housed separately, but physically it is having the interconnection between the zone. So the Infosys, if they want to pass any packets from VPC1 to VPC2, they are going to consume, the physical connection which it is built by Cloud Seller. The IBM want to send the packet between that two different data center. Once again, their packet floating also will be on the same physical connection. Cap Germany will be on the same physical connection. You can see it is security violation. The different organization packets which it is gonna be passing the packets top of same physical connection. So other organization can able to fetch our data. There is a chance they could, because we are passing the data on the same physical connection. How can we secure? In this case, I can create peering connection. So here, let you consider VPC1 and VPC2. Two VPC I do have for the same organization. So between these two data center, and top of they do have the physical connection, right? Virtually, you can create one tunnel between your data center. So this concept is called peering connection. Peering connection is nothing but you can create peer-to-peer connection using by AWS backbone network. So AWS, they are having the physical connection. Top of the physical connection, you can create a virtual tunnel. So once if you created this virtual tunnel, you could able to send the packet within your tunnel. So the other organization, they cannot able to enter inside of your tunnel. That is called peering connection. Peering connection, it's gonna be creating the tunnel using by AWS backbone network, right? So you can see any peering connection activity, let's say peering connection in AWS, you can see that. So between between two different data center, you can able to create the peering connection. You can create the tunnel. Peering connection will allow only private traffic. it will not allow any public traffic. So um, creating the tunnel, creating the tunnel using AWS backbone network, and will allow only private traffic. It won't allow public traffic. So that is, peering connection. Transistor gateway. So now you can consider where can we use transistor gateway. If I do have multiple VPC, right? So for all the VPC, if you want to, access, I can create one centralized gateway, which it is called transistor gateway. Peering connection, we can make the connectivity between two different data center, and it's going to be creating the tunnel. Transistor gateway is not going to create any tunnel. It will be act as a router between multiple VPC, right? You can create one centralized hub. Whoever want to access from offshore team or onshore team, or the client or the end user, whoever want to access, I can create one centralized hub. Then this hub is going to do the routing into respective VPC. I can whitelist over here who want to access or who want to allow or deny. We could able to restrict over here. So the transistor gateway, it's gonna be act as a hub for multiple VPC. You can see that. So when I'm using transistor gateway, so you can configure the centralized hub for multiple VPC. You can see that transistor gateway. So instead of this transistor gateway, we do have the router. I mean, inbuilt routers are available, right? So it's redirecting the traffic to multiple VPC, VPC1, VPC2, and you can see different VPC as well, right? So it's gonna be do the routing. So here you can come back. When I'm using the peering connection, sorry, transistor gateway, it will do the routing, right? It's not going to create a tunnel. It will allow private traffic and the public traffic as well, right? So it's gonna be allowing both private as well public. When I'm using VPN, so the peering connection, as I told you, it's gonna be creating the tunnel on top of private network. The VPN, it's going to be creating the tunnel top of public network. So if I'm sitting at Bangalore, your data center, which it is sitting at Sydney, we need internet connectivity, right? So over the internet connection, we could access. So if I'm passing the packets over the internet, it would be security violation. So I don't want to pass the packet over the internet. Over the internet, I need to create one virtual tunnel. You can see. So VPN tunnel. So it is going to be creating the tunnel over the internet. So if I'm sitting at different location, I mean, if I'm sitting at Bangalore, over the tunnel, I can connect with my data center network. Data center, it is a private network, and my floor people users also will be in private network. So over the tunnel, we virtually we will be in the data center network using by VPN. So VPN also will not allow public traffic. I hope nowadays we are using, we are doing work from home. So of course we may have VPN connectivity, or iPortal will be there, or you need to connect with the VDA server. So it's going to be creating the tunnel, over the internet, over the internet, and the protocol is IPsec. Using by this protocol, we could able to create the tunnel. It will allow only private traffic, right? NAT gateway. NAT gateway, usually it's going to be act as a, gateway between two different zone, or in such cases, you have a database, DB server, right? So for this database, if database always has to be in private network, even all the servers should be in private network. Let you take it as an example of database. So now, if you're using MySQL 1.8 it is running. Now we want to upgrade it to 2.2. How can we do that upgrade? Whether if it is in private network. So in front of we can configure one NAT. For NAT gateway, we can assign one IP. Using by this public IP, we could able to do the patch update, right? So directly, we don't want to associate the public IP to the database. We can assign this public IP to different components using by that we. So NAT is nothing but network address translation. We can mask the actual server IP if when you are, you know, fetching the data, fetching the patches over the internet. That is NAT gateway. And endpoints, right? So it's going to be allow routing the traffic, I would say, public to private. And endpoints is nothing but let you consider it is in-house too. You have the storage platform want to connect with your web server. So we need to create that API. Using that API, we could able to make the connectivity, that is endpoints. We need to create one centralized endpoints between storage and the web server or DB server or any automation tool or any configuration management tool. If you want to make the connectivity, I can create the centralized endpoints. It is in-house tool by default AWS they are having. It is free, no need to pay for this. So it will allow private traffic. It won't allow any public traffic. So these five gateways are quite important, I would say. The day-to-day in real time when the application or project, if it is onboarding, first we need to design. See, 60% of responsibility we are going to design your architecture. Anyhow, implementation will be there, fine. But without the planning, we cannot able to do the implementation, right? You might have seen conference dashboard in real time. In this conference dashboard, all the planning information will be there, and you do have Jira or if you're using Azure board. So those are the planning tools which it is available. Then the Scrum Master will come and design the sprint. What are the tasks for sprint one? What are the tasks for sprint two? They should divide multiple sprint. Under the sprint, we can define the task and do done. All the stuffs will be there. So ideally, what I'm trying to say, the architecture of is activity is quite important. So usually when you are getting the inputs from offshore team, sorry, onshore team, right to the offshore. So one way we can understand the legacy environment and draw the picture, or other way we can understand the blueprint of existing environment, and we could understand and we could able to take the inputs from the onshore team or from the stakeholder, right? So ideally, architecture, while designing, we should know the use case of your components. Without knowing that use case of components, then end of the month it would be, useless. And parallelly, you have to think about your cost. If I'm using transistor gateway, what would be the cost? Why do I need to use transistor gateway and where? Right. So that's quite important. So we should understand the difference, between this gateway use case. Then we could choose the gateway. Peering connection, it is quite expansive because you are creating the tunnel between data center. What are the packets which you are floating over the tunnel? All the packets, it's going to be encrypted. I mean, they are using AES, Advanced Encryption Standard File. They are using, right? If you're using identity broker application, so basically it has to be encrypted, right? So that's quite important. So transistor gateway, it is quite less. Endpoints, it is free. So the stakeholder always will expect to achieve the cost effect as well, right? So that's a reason, the use case is quite important for each components. Any questions? Do you have any questions? So I will address those questions.
Hi, Kartik.
Hey, Vivek. Yes.
The types of gateway you explained, right? So in real time, which scenario we go for the particular gateways? If you give means, we may understand a little better.
See, in this architecture, how many gateway they are using, you can see peering connection gateway they are using, and you can see VPN gateway they are using, and here you can see transistor gateway they are using, and you can see endpoints. No, they're not using. See here itself, you can see three gateway. From the local data center into cloud data center, they have created the tunnel using by VPN. And between these two data center, they're replicating the data using by peering connection. And you can see that the transistor gateway. So anybody, I mean, the production, if it is down, immediately the traffic should redirect to other, data center. So they have configured the transistor gateway. So this is what you're getting me point now.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so these are the use case. We should understand where can be place of your gateway. All right. Any other questions? Great. So let us go back to this architecture now. So from flow to data center, which gateway can be configured? Anybody? We are in different location. So virtually we have to be in the local network of your data center. Which gateway can be used?
Peer to peer peering. The first
Peering connection within the data center, I said.
is called
See,
VPN.
great. So we can configure VPN gateway. So then virtually we will be in the local network. Right. So here, sorry. Okay. So here I would say, oops. Okay. So here let's try to configure VPN gateway. VPN gateway. So the VPN gateway, it's gonna be creating the tunnel from our flow to data center, right? And now I do have the security data center already stated. Use case of security data center. So if let's say Vivek want to access dev environment, Vivek don't want to access production and non-prod. So we can configure the identity broker. I mean, the on top of VD server, we can validate which user want to allow to access dev and non-prod. Let's say Lakshmi don't want to access non-prod. She don't want to access dev. So how can we whitelist? And top of the security data center, we used to have a VDA server. On top of VDA server, if you're using Linux, you can define Unix shell. So I can show you. So the shell script, how can we, how will it looks like? So fine, let me open that. You can see here, right? So you can see if you go for Linux user policy. So this is our shell script. You can see. So I just created the username, which it is Puneet, and he can able to access this server. So whether if it is production or dev, something it will be there. But I have whitelisted, and here I have created that shell script, and it's going to be validate Puneet. Even I have uploaded the ping file as well. Okay, once uploaded, the respective server if does the PEM file, and if he has the privilege to access, he can able to access. So like this, on top of VDA server, we used to write it down the shell script over there. The script it's going to validate, Madhu want to access this server or Vivek want to access this server. It's going to be validating and it will allow. If they does not have any privilege, it will deny. So this kind of for this kind of use cases, we are using the security data center. We can whitelist, right? Now, okay, so the internal user, if he has privilege to access dev environment, I need to make the connectivity between these two different data center. So which gateway can we use? In this category, which gateway can be used between these two different data center? So you can see when I'm using the peering connection, I can go back to here. You can see that we are into this peering connection. See, we are talking about peering connection. When I'm using the peering connection, clearly they stated it will allow only private traffic. They did not mention any public traffic. While creating the peering connection, make sure that two data center should be in two different CIDR. If it is 10 dot, here it should be 172 or 192. If it is in the same network, your tunnel will get failed. You cannot able to make the tunnel between these two different data center connection. Getting my point? So make sure when I'm designing the architecture, this data center, if it is 10.network, 10.0.0./26. So this data center also, can I use the same IP? Will it work? Will it work? Yes, right. So I can use 172.1.6.0.0/16. I can use. So if I'm using two different CIDR, yes, you can able to make the peering connection. So I can go and configure peering connection over here. So the naming conversion, which it is nothing but PCX. So in this architecture, when if it is popping PCX, you just consider it is peering connection. So now I can create a peering connection between these two different data center. I can configure this. We just created the tunnel, but all the data center, it does route table, right? All the data center, it has a route table. So this data center also, this data center also have, it is having route table, and one more data center also it is having route table. So the route table should understand if I'm getting any traffic or if I'm sending any traffic to a neighbor data center CIDR, the route table has to do the routing, right? So we need to whitelist. I mean, you need to whitelist of your neighbor CIDR. You can see here, this CIDR, I need to whitelist under this route table, right? And this CIDR, we need to whitelist, I mean, vice versa, you need to create the rule. If anybody pinging 172.network from 10.series, the route table has to forward the traffic to peering connection. Then the peering connection will forward to neighbor route table. Under the neighbor route table, they should have, whitelist of 10.series. So once if you whitelisted, then this two data center server could able to communicate between each other. So predominantly what I'm trying to say, once created the peering connection, under the route table of each data center, we need to create a vice versa rule of your CIDR. So once if you whitelisted, then the route table could understand the source CIDR and the destination CIDR as well. Then via peering connection, it could able to allow the traffic to communicate between each other. Make sense? Did you understand this? Anybody? Am I audible? Hello. Yeah. I'm sorry. No, what I was telling in the sense, see, when you are trying to creating the peering connection between two different data center, this data center also having route table and here also route table. Under this route table, you need to whitelist of your neighbor CIDR. And under this route table, you need to whitelist of this, CIDR. Then the two, route table could understand the neighbor, CIDR. Via peering connection, we can able to pass the packet. So this route table understanding 10 series, this route table understanding 172, via peering connection we can pass. Make sense, Sweta? All right. Any questions? All right. So I just whitelisted over here. Fine. Here, let's say we do have production and non-production. For this, let us try to configure peering connection, but peering connection is quite expensive, right? In this case, so the development team only want to access dev environment. Let you go for operation team. So one more team we do have. So the operation team of they want to access production as well non-production. Two data center they want to access. They no need to think about that. David is for testing environment or development environment. Let them use that. But operation guys, they used to monitor non-production and production, right? So in this case, which gateway can be configured? In this case, anybody? Anybody, could you please? Which gateway can be used? I do have two data center. So peering connection, will it work for 3 data centers, including security?
Peering will be
No, it will not work.
Okay, so can we choose transistor gateway in this category? Transistor gateway can be from a security data center. It's going to do the routing into two different. Will it work?
Yes, it will.
Right, because we can't skip that security data center. Even the product operation guys also has to get validate under the security. From the security, they can jump into two different data center, right? Makes sense. So in this category, you can see that that's what I stated. When you go for transistor gateway, to 2016, they have introduced in the market the transistor gateway to avoid the cost effect. Previously, what we used to do, we used to create multiple peering connection, and you need to create multiple rules. So it was looking like measure. So to avoid that, they have introduced, I mean, the cloud seller, they have introduced a transistor gateway into the market. Right. So now you can see that we do have the transistor gateway, and the transistor gateway could able to do the routing into multiple VPC. So it's going to be do the routing. It's not going to creating the tunnel. It is creating the tunnel. That is the major difference. Here, what are the packets? If you are floating, it will be encrypt. Here, it's not going to encrypt. That is quite disadvantage when you go for transistors, but it would be considered as a hub between multiple VPC as well. All right. So here, when you are configuring the transistor gateway, by default, once again, it has a route table. Transistor gateway route table will be there. So VPC route table is different, transistor gateway route table is different, right? So under this transistor gateway, we need to whitelist 10 series. And here, what's your IP error? So let's choose 192.160.0.0/16 can be. And here once again, because we can, do the rollback within 3 class. Here, can I choose 172.168.0.0/16? So 2 different CIDR we do have. So we can whitelist this IP under this route table. And this IP, once again, we can do, in this route table. So now the transistor gateway route table could understand, do the routing to multiple VPC. Makes sense? And same vice versa, under this VPC route table also, we need to, add this transistor gateway. I mean, the transistor gateway, how we have whitelisted over here, attaching the peering connection between 2 different data center route table same. So the transistor gateway also we need to attach under the VPC route table, because without, we cannot able to bypass the VPC route table. So we need to attach the transistor gateway under the route table. Make sense? Okay, first let us try to build this setup, then we can come back and deploy rest of all the category. Any questions so far? Do you have? Madhu, do you have any question? Shiva, do you have any questions?
Karthik, this is Sushri here.
Yes, Srishri.
This IP is, you told for routing table we need to, it's like what, we need to fix those IPs to the route table, or it will take by its own, like
No,
after
no.
the connection is set.
Right. So we have to do manually, Srishri.
Okay.
Okay, manually we have to impose all the rules over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Karthi, Madhu here.
Yes, Madhu.
That routing table peering the connection. So only for private IP to interlink of the private. What about the public?
You can't see the data center always, first of all the data center has to be in private network, Madhu. Should not be in public. Only the production platform we can go with, public.
Okay.
Okay, so the production, even the load balancer only should have public IP, rest of should not have public IP. So ideally, entire data center should be in private network. So if it is in public, then anyone could able to hack our data, right?
Okay.
But for that, we're using VPN.
Yes, Somashekar.
No, anyone cannot get in, right? Because we're using VPN.
Yes, that's right. We are using VPN and we are using VDA server. So yeah, they cannot, unauthorized user cannot able to log in.
If we have transit gateway, we don't need peering connection at all, right?
No, transistor gateway. See here, why I have selected peering connection in this category in the sense to see basically from security to dev environment. Here I just created, but in real time, how they used to do, for any confidential application. Let's say if you are using any banking sector application. So for the banking sector application, when doing the replication, during the time, all the packets should be encrypted. Okay, let me put this way. I do have application server, right? Which it is in the non-prod, or production, whatever. Okay, let us take it as a production. This application is going to sync up with our database. It is primary database. From primary DB into secondary DB, I want to replicate the data, right? So while replicating the data, all the data should be encrypted and you can do replication. If it is not encrypted, then hacker directly can able to attack your data. In this category, I can choose peering connection in real time. But here, for understanding perspective, I have configured this. But real time, when you are using replication, even you can see this picture also, when they are doing replication, they have configured peering connection. You can see from primary DB into secondary DB, they are doing replication via peering connection. Make sense, Lakshmi?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Fine. So let us create any questions? Sorry.
Hi, Karthik.
Yes, Vivek.
We are using security DC VPC right here. Yesterday we had discussed about security group. So instead of whitelisting here, we can whitelisting there also, right?
No,
So
no, no,
why?
no, 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 no. Security group, you will be act as a firewall. You can whitelist port number and IP. Here you're whitelisting user.
Okay, okay,
Okay, that is completely different. It here, that's what I have given. You know, Madhu want to access dev environment. Where can we whitelist? Or Vivek want to access production. On top of security data center, you can spin up one VDS server. Top of that, we can whitelist.
okay. It's for individual users.
The user policy.
Okay,
Basically, if you want to create user policy, yes, we can do that security data center.
okay, okay, got it.
All right. Authorization, authentication will happen on, top of your security data center.
Okay, okay.
Great. Fine. So let us go back to our console. So we have selected two different regions, Sydney and Singapore. I'm just going back to Sydney region. First, let us try to create the data center. I mean, the security data center at Sydney region. Let's try to switch into VPC. All right. So let's try to create the VPC. The naming conversion can be used ABC, right? So can be security environment name and the customer name I have given ABC environment application name. Fine. Let us AB, that is our application name. I'm just skipping, and VPC 01. All right. So let us use this naming conversion for this entire architecture. Let's use this. I'm just going to give the IP address, which it is 10.0.0.26. I'm just using, and right. So we just want to enable the DNS hostname. So right now we are doing manually. Next, we are going to understand automation using the script. How can we create VPC? How can we deploy the DC2 instance using the Terraform or using the cloud formation? We'll discuss bit later. So let's try to create the subnet which it is attaching with VPC, and I would say in terms of VPC, I can give subnet 01. At this point, one subnet I'm just creating, but mandatory you can create two when you are doing practice. At this point, I'm just creating one data center. I mean, one subnet would be fine. So quickly, let me create a route table. I'm just going to create a route table over here. I can say which it is a route table attaching to our VPC, and I can see that which it is nothing but your RT and create. So then I can add your subnet association, which we created one. Let's try to add. And internal gateway we require for security data center. I'm just adding the security internal gateway. Quickly, let's try to create. this gateway, let us try to attach with your VPC, which it is this. All right. So this gateway, once again, I can go back and add under this routes, which it is 0.0.0, and through the internet gateway, which it is this. All right. So we have created the security data center. Next, we need to create a dev and non-prod. For dev and non-prod, do we need to create internet gateway? Anybody? For dev,
No, there is no need there because it is private.
fantastic. Right, so that's great. So for dev and non-prod, you should not create internet gateway. For production,
We need to
Yeah.
create.
great. For production, we need to create. That's right. Fine. So here we don't want to create, but this data center has to be in Ohio region. Oh, we have selected Ohio. Let me switch into, and we need to create security group as well. I'm just going to create the security group. I would, sorry. Security group, I can say that which it is security group, and is for security data center attached to VPC, which it is this, and I can open at this point SSH only because we are going to spin up Linux. I'm just opening SSH. Let's try to configure the security group. All right. So far we have created the security data center. All the dependencies also we just configured.
We
Next,
have to enable DNS.
yeah, I enabled here. After created VPC, the very next moment itself, I have enabled DNS here. Got it? Okay, so next let us try to create a dev, non-prod, and production. In it, next class we'll do this. Okay, so let us continue this architecture. Once completed this network, we'll go for application layer and database layer. Any questions? If you do have, you can raise your question, or we'll wind up today. Meet up on Monday.
Karthik,
Yes.
while doing naming conversion yesterday, we had our customer name as IBM, right? So the VPC would start with IBM. Again, today our new VPC was with ABC.
Different
Yes.
customer I have selected.
Yesterday's VPC you have deleted?
No, it is there only. I think so. I did not use that. I'm just building this architecture from the scratch.
Okay, okay. I thought yesterday's we are going to connect.
No. That is, I showed you how to, that is very basic, how to create the VPC. So today onwards, we started to understand some kind of architecture stuffs.
Okay, thank you.
Right. All right. Any questions? Robin, do you have any questions? Shiva. Cool then.
No.
All right, great. Cool then. We'll wind up today. So we'll meet up on Monday. Okay. Thank you all. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Bye.